students. Today we are going to continue with English chapter 2 from your supplementary reader book Movements, and the name of the chapter is Adventures of Toto. Here I am continuing with the second part of the chapter. If you want, you can view the first part and then continue with this video. So let's begin. When Toto was finally accepted by grandmother, he was given a comfortable home in the stable. So this grandmother, as we all know, in the first video we discussed that grandmother did not know that Toto was staying with them in their house, as grandfather told that he will wait for her good mood and inform her. Then now grandmother came to know about Toto, and Toto got a comfortable place in the stable where he had for a companion the donkey Nana. Okay, so in the stable he had a companion, a friend, a donkey called Nana. On Toto's first night in the stable, grandfather paid him a visit to see if he was comfortable. After he was left there with Nana, grandfather went there to visit Toto to see whether he is comfortable in the stable with Nana or not. To his surprise, he found Nana without apparent cause, without any obvious cause, Nana, without any apparent cause, pulling at her halter and trying to keep her head as far as possible from a bundle of hay. So he was trying to move behind. Grandfather gave Nana a slap across his haunches and she jerked back, dragging Toto with her. Halter is the thing which is again the rope kind of a thing put against their neck to control them. He had fastened on to her long ears with his sharp little teeth. He had caught it with his sharp little teeth. Toto and Nana never became friends. A great treat for Toto during cold winter evenings was the large bowl of warm water given to him by grandmother for his bath. So in winters he it was a treat for him that grandmother used to give him a large bowl of warm water. He would cunningly test the temperature with his hand, then gradually step into the bath, first one foot, then the other, as he had seen me doing, until he was into the water up to his neck. Okay, so directly he doesn't jump into the water. For cunningly means smartly he puts his hand to check the temperature, then gradually his first foot, then the other, and then submerges into the water like he had seen the author doing. So similarly he tries to imitate. Once comfortable, he would take the soap in his hands or feet and rub himself all over. So once he thinks now the water level is comfortable enough and the temperature of the water is also comfortable enough, then he takes the soap in his hands or legs and starts applying. When the water became cold, he would get out and run as quickly as he could to the kitchen fire in order to dry himself. So naturally the water which is hot will, after some time, the temperature will go down, so it will become cold. So he sits in the water till the water is warm, and once it cools down he will quickly run away from there to the kitchen fire in order to dry himself. If anyone laughed at him during this performance, Toto's feelings would be hurt and he would refuse to go on with his bath. So then if anyone laughs at him when he is doing it, the next time he will not want to go. One day Toto nearly succeeded in boiling himself alive. Okay, so one day he was like all about to boil himself. Let's see how. A large kitchen kettle had been left on the fire to boil for tea, and Toto, finding himself with nothing better to do, decides to remove the lid. Okay, so there was this big kettle with water on the gas and on the fire, and this Toto goes and removes the lid. Finding the water just warm enough for a bath, he got in with his head sticking out from the open kettle. So he as you all know that previously also he has this habit of checking the temperature of the water, right? So he just checked and he thought it was fine enough. So then he jumped into it and sat. This was just fine for a while until the water began to boil. But he didn't realize that the water will start boiling after some time because as it was kept on the fire. So he was just fine for a while until the water began to boil. Toto then realized himself a little, but finding it cold outside, sat down again. So then slowly he started realizing that this water is becoming hot, but as he tries to move out of the water, and then he finds that it is cold outside, and then again sits inside. He continued hopping up and down for some time. He continued doing this for some time until grandmother arrived and hauled him half boiled out of the kettle. Okay, then suddenly this grandmother comes in and sees that Toto is in the kettle. So howl means she started shouting at him and took him out of the kettle. If there is a part of brain especially devoted to mischief, that part was largely developed in Toto. So here the author says that if the at all any part was divided for mischief in our brains, then this part in Toto was totally developed. He was always trying tearing things to pieces, means whatever you give it he will just tear it into pieces. Whenever one of my aunts came near him, he made every effort to get hold of her dress and tear a hole in it. Okay, so this author says that one of my aunt tried coming to him, and so he would try making a hole in her dress. One day at lunchtime, a large dish of pulao stood in the center of the dining table. Now he's talking about a day when there was pulao kept on the dining table. We entered the room to find Toto stuffing himself with rice. And then when they entered the room, they saw that Toto was stuffing, means all eating lot of it to of the rice. My grandmother screamed and Toto threw a plate at her. So this as soon as they saw, the grandmother screamed at him. So he threw the plate at her. One of my aunts rushed forward and received a glass of water in the face. And then this one of his aunts tried to go over there. So what did he do? He splashed water in the face. When grandfather arrived, Toto picked up the dish of pulao and made his exit through a window. Then he saw that grandfather is coming, so he took the dish of pulao and went out of the window. We found him in the branches of the jackfruit tree. He went and sat in the jackfruit tree, the dish still in his arms, and the dish was still with him. He remained there all afternoon, eating slowly through the rice, determined on determined on finishing every grain. Slowly he ate everything, and his aim was to finish each grain. And then, in order to spite grandmother, who had screamed at him, he threw the dish down from the tree. Okay, in order to spite means annoy. In order to annoy grandmother, what did he do? Uh, he threw the dish down from the tree because he saw that uh, grandmother had scolded him, and chattered with delight when it broke into 100 pieces. Then he chattered means talked informally about unimportant matters, like he murmured up to himself as the plate broke into pieces. Obviously, Toto was not that the sort of pet we could keep for long. Okay, so naturally, nobody would like to keep such a distractive pet. Even grandfather realized that later. We were not well to do and could not afford the frequent loss of dishes, clothes, curtains, and wallpapers. So, whatever the author is saying, that finally grandfather also decided what all to do to him, and they could not afford all of the damages that he made. So, grandfather found the Tonga driver and sold Toto back to him for only 3 rupees. Okay, so finally, grandfather also took a stand and decided that we cannot keep such a destructive pet in the house who will break our things and put us to loss. So, finally, he found the Tonga driver from whom he had bought Toto for 5 rupees and then sold him for 3 rupees. I hope you all understood the chapter. Thank you.